Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here on USB Unaffiliated Sports Broadcast. Hey, yeah, seriously, thank you for being here. I hope if you like that music, by the way, um, they are a local Tooele County band. They're called Twisted Axis. They've done a few live shows in the surrounding areas, but they're local to us here in Tooele County. So if you like their music, make sure you get over there and give them a follow. They have a YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff. You can stream their music from, as far as I know, everywhere. Um, so I do hope that you guys enjoyed that. It's called Twisted Axis, and I do have permission to use their music if anybody is curious. But yeah, no, definitely get over there and give them a follow if you like that music. Okay. I do hope everyone has had a great Memorial Day weekend, and in honor of my, if you don't mind, I would like to take a moment of silence to honor First Lieutenant Ivan Lekowicz, Specialist Stephen Gutowski, and PFC David Drake. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. All right, so today we have Stansbury High School, the Stallion softball team, catcher number 12, Bonnie Barnett. She's joining us today. Now, Bonnie led her team this season with 21 RBIs, nine doubles, three triples, four home runs. She had a slugging percentage of .836 and placed second in batting average with a 433. She is also a region champ junior with a fielding percentage of 970. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Bonnie Barnett. How you doing, young lady?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So, one second here. I'm messing stuff up again. I'll get it right one of these days. Thank you for being with us. I greatly appreciate it. I do hope that you are glad to be here, and we're sure as heck glad to have you. So, um, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
So, first things first, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you chose softball to dedicate your time to.
Yeah. So I'm Bonnie Barnett. I'm a junior at Stansbury, catcher infielder. My travel ball team is Mountain West. It's based out of northern Utah. Um, I don't know. I like to cook. I like to get my nails done, hang out with friends, get my hair done. I just like to kind of pamper myself and then hang out with my dogs and my sister. But I chose softball because I grew up doing all the sports like everyone else did, and softball just I wasn't naturally good at it, and I don't know why I fell in love with it, but it was something about the friendships I made growing up and just seeing everyone all the time. I just loved it. Loved the sport. I liked how it was fast paced but still like different from like soccer or basketball. There were different aspects of it.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I think it's definitely different for sure. And I think, do you think most of that's maybe because of the position that you always been a catcher?
No, when I first started playing, I was put in right field. I wasn't very good, and then I moved to second
Oh,
base.
are you saying
Yeah.
right fielders aren't good?
No, 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 no. But when you're eight,
Oh,
they put the worst players in the outfield because nobody hits it out there.
I get you. I get you. I'm just giving you a hard time.
But yeah, and then I kind of started off playing infield after that, and then I joined a little all-star team, and they needed a catcher, and I just jumped for it, and it's been the love of my career ever since.
So it just felt like the right spot for you.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So a catcher is often called a field general or a coach on the field, and that's according to Google, by the way. How do you embrace that role? What does it mean to you to be in charge of the defense?
Yeah, for me to be in charge, it's kind of just being the leader. Like, you're the one who sees the whole field. You get to see every play where the ball's hit. It's just you have to be the loudest and you have to control everyone because emotions can fall apart. So you got to just hold everybody together.
Sure, of course. And do you find that to be kind of like a natural thing for you, or was that something that you kind of had to build yourself into?
I think it's pretty natural. I'm the oldest, so I've always kind of had that leadership mentality.
Running the house type thing,
Right.
your way or the highway? Yeah. I'm just kidding. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I think it works out best when it's something that feels just natural for you. So um,
Definitely.
that's fantastic. So what's the most challenging part about being a catcher then that most fans or even other players may not realize?
Uh, Catchers don't get a lot of credit for what they do because it's always, we're just there for the pitcher, but it's a lot harder to recover, like when they miss a spot or just trying to build a connection with the whole team. It's like, let's say we call a rise ball and ends up going in the dirt. Obviously, we're not ready for that, and so I have to adjust my whole positioning. It's just a whole thing that I don't think people realize because they don't ever see the catcher catching the ball. It's just where the ball goes, and it's like, oh, good pitch, but nobody knows what's actually going in. And then you just have to have a connection with everybody on the field just because you are that center point of the field. Like, you're just the leader, so you have to have a good connection with everybody on it.
Right. So with those movements that you guys do, especially if like, let's say the pitch is a little off or a little wild or whatever, right? Um, how difficult is it? Because you guys spring in, and I've seen it through several teams. You guys spring into action on those plays, and it hurts my joints just watching it happen. Like, how much training goes into that, or is it just kind of like you guys are just young, so it's it's a little easier or something?
Definitely not easy. I've had my pains, but it's really just, I mean, I don't, so I only started catching for the high school halfway through my sophomore year into my junior year because we had another really good catcher. But so I worked on this all throughout my summer ball career, and it's just, you just practice it. They throw balls at the backstop and you run back and get them, and then it's a lot of icing your knee after to make sure you're not hurting.
So, I mean, do you bring your own ice then, or do you have to like send somebody to the local gas station to grab you some?
Oh, I'll go get my own.
That's fair. That's fair. Just curious because again, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna lie to anybody. Yeah, you talk about right fielders is where they stick the young kids that aren't really that good. Well, I wasn't even sweeping the dugouts. You know what I mean? So that wasn't my sport. It just never took hold for me. So I'm a novice in a lot of things, and I openly admit that I'm a novice in a lot of things when it comes to it. I understand the basics of the game, but when you get into the intricate parts of it, um, you know, this is all new to me. I'm learning on the fly here, trying to help you local athletes out as best I can, and you guys have been educating me on a lot of things. So just curiosity questions a lot of the way.
Yeah, right. Right.
So how do you handle the pressure of big moments then? Say like a runner on third, 2 outs, or a tie game. Like, what's your mental routine in those big moments?
For me, honestly, I don't really get riled up under pressure just because I've been in that position so many times, and my coaches in the summer will put me in those positions at practice just so we can get a feel for it before games. So I don't really get riled up. I just try and keep the team as calm and collected as we can because most people do kind of get stressed out, and it makes for errors when you get too stressed out. You think too much. So I always kind of try and call a timeout, or I'll kind of just, tell the field, like, we're good, like, we need to calm down. And it's just, I just try and help the other people out because I don't really feel stressed over it.
How do you go about maybe calming down your team when you notice that they're struggling like that? Like, how do you I don't know. How do you get them back under control? I guess you could say.
Yeah, so I'll call timeout and I'll go out to the circle and I'll just be like, guys, like, it's all good. Because, like, when we played Tooele, we had a really big stressed out inning because it was, like, bases loaded for them. And it was just a whole situation, and so I had to, like, call timeout and just kind of be like, guys, like, we're good, it's just a game. You just have to remind everyone it's just a game because at the end of the day, this isn't life or death. And so
Sure.
I think if you put it into perspective of it's just a game, you'll still be here tomorrow, people kind of tend to calm down.
That game you referenced, was that the one that went to extra innings for you guys?
Yes,
Yeah, that was a great game. I was there for that one. That was a really great game, and I thought they had you guys for a minute. I'm not gonna lie, I thought they did, and you guys really came through.
it was real stressful for everybody.
Like those inter county games?
I do. It builds a lot of tension between us and the other girls. With Grantsville, we don't really ever feel that tension just because a lot of us are mainly friends with them, and like they're not in our region, so the games don't matter as much to us because it's
Sure.
just a game. But with Tooele, the tension gets really high, and at Tooele we had everybody show up, so it was like you just had the stands full, and it just kind of gets to you. I love playing when there's a lot of people there, but the inter-county games against Tooele, it just gets everybody stressed out. But I think they're super fun because you know who you're playing against, and it's kind of like who's gonna win, who gets the bragging right of like that game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's one of the biggest reasons why we like to cover that really heavily here because one, I think it's just good for the community. I think it's a good way to get people out, and I think that's really beneficial not only for the people but for the teams. And so those games to me are some of my favorites. And from the stand perspective, I've always felt like you see a different team in those games. Like, I can't remember the other, I want to say it was like Hillcrest or something, but I'm probably wrong about that. But I saw you guys play another team, and I would argue that the game you guys played against Tooele was not the same team. You guys weren't the same team as you were in that other one. Like you still played well. You guys did great things, but there was just something about it that was definitely different. So I think that they're great for you guys, but also for the community as well.
Definitely, there's a fire that builds up when we play them.
So let's get back into some more questions here. But so you work closely with the pitchers more than anyone else on the team, I would imagine. How do you build a strong relationship and trust with your pitchers?
Um, Personally, everyone does it differently. But what I do is so like if I don't know the pitcher very well or it's my first time really catching for her, I have like a default style of catching, and so not every pitcher likes the way that catchers catch sometimes, and so if I'm catching a certain way and they're missing their spots or they're just not really trusting me, I'll go up and talk to them and say, "What do you need me to do so that you can throw your best?" And that just kind of helps build a trust between you two because now she'll know that you'll do whatever it takes to help her out.
So you said not every pitcher likes your positioning or your stance. Is that
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah.
what does that mean? Like explain that to somebody who is like myself, who's familiar enough with the game to understand like runs and all that stuff, but not familiar enough with that aspect of it. Explain exactly why that's a critical component.
Yeah, because some girls, like when I catch, I usually have one knee down, and then I don't show my glove until the pitch is almost to me. So it's like I'm not prefacing where the pitch is coming. But some pitchers like to have a target, like so they can see where they want the ball to go. And then some girls don't like it when I'm already kind of set up in the middle and then I have to move. So people just don't like the way that I sit in the middle. I kind of hide where the ball's going until the very last second. But some pitchers need you to be where the ball will be so they can hit that spot.
Okay, I get you. Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like it's an extremely stressful experience, but extremely rewarding at the same time.
Definitely.
Right on, right on. Well, you're not only phenomenal at what you do behind the plate, you're also pretty dang good at what you do with the bat in your hands. Do you feel your defensive mindset from the catcher perspective? Do you think that helps or hinders you when you step into the batter's box? Like, do you kind of feel like you have like a sixth sense understanding of what they're trying to do, or do you think that maybe you're a little too confident sometimes and maybe it messes you up?
When I'm catching, so if I'm not catching that game, it makes it a little bit harder. But if I'm catching a certain game, I'll know where the zone is, which makes it super easy when I'm up to bat because then I already know where he's going to call it. And then most of the time when I'm catching, or just in general actually, when I'm up to bat, if I have a certain count on me, I'll kind of know what pitch is going to probably come because it's just the way the game kind of flows. And it's catching helps because I get to see spin every single pitch, which helps me catch on when I'm hitting. So then I also see spin coming in, which just helps me read the ball better and track it.
I didn't even think about the umpire's calls and how you have kind of have some insight of what he's calling and what he's not calling because of the catching position. That's a great explanation. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, what's been your most memorable moment or game as a catcher so far in your high school career?
My most memorable game since I've been catching at Stansbury, probably one of our most recent ones actually, which was our first game at Bear River, which I was super sick while we played Bear River, but I have a billion friends that are on Bear River, and so it was fun catching because I got to talk to them, and I ended up playing really good that game. I threw a girl out. It was just really overall a good catching game for me, and I got to be with my friends on both teams, which really made it fun. So that's probably my best, most memorable game this season.
Right on, right on. You said it was like your Michael Jordan flu game in a way.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to a younger player who's just starting out as a catcher? What's some solid advice, like basic?
I'd probably say learn how to be a good leader and be a good teammate because nobody's gonna wanna pitchers like certain catchers, so nobody's gonna want to pitch to you if you're a bad teammate. Like if you're rude and you don't like hype them up, they're not gonna want to pitch to you. So being a good teammate and being a good leader is super important.
What would you say, in your opinion, is one of the better, or if not the most important, qualities of a leader then?
I think just being kind because girls tend to take things a lot harder. So
Oh,
as
I
a
hope my
girl,
daughter is listening.
yeah, so being kind but still being like assertive is just it's a good mix.
Okay, okay. Not a bad one. Not a bad one. It's a little different from my previous world, but I can definitely see how that's, especially on the field. I can definitely see how that's impactful for you guys. So all right, let's talk about your season a little bit, right? So your team goes 12-13 on the season, so just barely under 500 there, but I think that's including your guys' postseason games. So we'll just say 500. Um, and then you go 12-2 in region, and you guys end up winning region. How proud of your team are you?
I'm super proud of us. I think we had some trials this year and we pushed through them and we ended up doing really good in region. Obviously we had those two tough games where we probably could have pulled it out, but obviously you can't win every game. So I think we did really good considering the stuff that we kind of had going on as a team. But overall, super proud of us.
Okay, as you should be. I mean, because did you guys win region last year as well?
Yeah, we were co-region winners with Murray last year.
Okay, all right. So I mean, two good seasons back to back. You guys should be proud of yourselves. You really should.
Yeah.
So moving into the postseason stuff, right? You guys, because we already talked about the Chihuahua game, which I forgot to put in the notes that I sent to you earlier, but I'm glad you brought it up because I do like to talk about those. Um, Into the postseason, you guys stomped Murray in the regional round, outscoring them 24-1 through the two games, despite having lost to them earlier in the season. What did you guys figure out about Murray that allowed you to beat them the way that you guys did in those regional rounds?
I think for us it was the seniors were like, this could be our last game, like, and they just really put all their effort into it because they knew that it could be over that weekend. But especially after coming off of that region win, we just told ourselves like we can't lose to Murray because they're in our region, and you can't go from winning region to going to lose in playoffs to somebody in your region. So we were like, we have to win because that's kind of embarrassing if we were to lose. And then also, that was our third time seeing their pitcher. So we ended up seeing their pitcher four times, which I think really helped us because we caught on to it super quick, which really helped us out in the long run.
So then you guys move into your super regional bracket, and you guys face number one Bear River, and they kind of shut you guys. They shut you out. What
Yeah.
was the emotion after that? How did you all take that loss, and what has it motivated within your team looking towards, say, next season?
Yeah, a lot of the girls were pretty sad because it's our last game, so that was kind of sad for everybody. But a lot of girls were a little sad, but also we did play the best that we could. It was a long week that week. A lot of us were super sick, which didn't help us out, but we played our best. It was kind of sad, but I think we became a lot more motivated to become a more developed team because we're a very, very underdeveloped team. Not a lot of us play on a summer team. So most of the team will only play in the spring and then they'll kind of start back up in the fall to kind of warm up. So we're just super underdeveloped, which I think will become more developed as we get older. And with the new high school opening, we'll have more time to develop the younger girls.
Sure. And why do you think that is? Just out of curiosity.
I think because we'll have a lot of the girls are transferring because they live over there. So we'll have a smaller team, which will give us more one-on-one time or a longer practice with more independent work to try and help us get better.
Okay, I gotcha. I gotcha. I mean, that does make a lot of sense. And I know definitely in the world of like basketball, for instance, the off-season stuff that you do is arguably more important than the regular season stuff, because you got to keep those skills harnessed and
Definitely.
fresh. So, well, I mean, yeah, that's a tough way to finish out your guys' postseason run for sure. But I'm glad to hear that there was some positive takeaways for you guys, so that way you're not just hanging your heads down low, because I'm sure your expectations were high, right? Because you guys ranked one region, so I'm pretty sure you had some pretty high expectations for yourself, right?
Yeah, we thought we would probably do a little better than we did. Knowing Bever was number one in the state, we knew it was going to be a super, super hard game. But I think we did think we'd do a little bit better, which didn't end up going our way, which happens.
On the bright side of that, at least you did. They ended up winning the state championship, so
Yes,
at least you didn't lose. At least you didn't lose to somebody who just lost after you. You know what I mean?
exactly.
So, all right. So back to your batting, because that's what really, when I started compiling the stats and stuff, that's what really stood out to me for you. You had an average of 433. You had 25 runs, 20 or oh, I typoed that. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Give off bad numbers. Let me just pull it up real fast. Sorry about that. All right.
No worries.
So you had an average of 433. You had 25 runs, 29 hits, 31 RBIs, two doubles, three triples, and four home runs. How proud of yourself are you of that stat?
I'm very proud. It hasn't been my best season yet, numbers like batting average wise, but I started off the year super super hot. I came out swinging, and then after our first, I think like 4 games, I was batting over 900, and then I just started swinging immediately out of the gate. Super proud of myself. I know my potential, and I just know how good I am that I can hit off of these really good pitchers, and then you know, we start seeing the slower ones, and that's kind of where I tend to struggle a little bit. But I still think I did really good, and I'm super proud of myself.
If I recall correctly, last year you had an average of 471, um, but you also had a few more plate appearances than this year. But
Yes,
your slugging percentage was an 836, which was exceptionally higher than I think the next closest one was like a 630 or something like that. Um, what's your general approach or mindset when you step into that batter's box? I mean, are you trying to crush every one, or is it more strategic?
if I think about hitting a home run, I'm gonna strike out. So I really just go up there trying to make contact. Um, but when I'm up to bat, my mind, I have to make it go blank. I can't think up there, or else I'm gonna think too much about my mechanics. I should let my body do what it knows how to do. So I just kind of go back to the basics while I'm in the circle, and then when I'm up to bat, I go brain dead, and I let my body do what it needs to do, and I just go for contact.
So so when you're in between those pitches, say you get a strike that you know your first thought to yourself is, oh man, I knew I should have swung at that. How do you refocus yourself then? Because I mean, I understand that you're saying like you kind of just go numb and you just kind of brush it to the side, but is there a process in those moments that you kind of are able to tap into and maybe make that an easier thing for yourself?
I just take a good deep breath, and I'm kind of really good at picking up signs. So if I can see what the like coaches are calling to the pitcher, I can usually kind of see like after a while of the game I'll know what's coming. But if I can't tell, I'll kind of just have a sense of what they're gonna throw because most teams will kind of watch film or look at your stats and just see what your weakness is. So if I already have a strike on me, they're gonna go for my weakness. So then I just kind of think about what they're gonna throw me, take my deep breath, and I just go in the box and I just look for the one pitch I want.
So, can you tell us about a time then that you hit a memorable hit, whether it be an extra base hit or a home run, but it was memorable because um, what was that situation and how did it feel?
My most memorable hit of this season was definitely my home run against Crimson. We were down in St. George. It was like our fourth game of the season, I think, or third or fourth. But and I just this pitcher was pretty good. She was pretty fast, and it was the first inning we had. I think a runner on like first, and I hit it, and it just went a million miles, and we were first on the board, and it just kind of started a rally for us that inning, which was really nice.
So in a nutshell, you faced a great pitcher and you kind of put him against the fence early on, and it just rallied the rest of your team.
Yeah,
Right on, right on. I think those are really cool. I think everybody obviously goes into every game with a game plan, right? And I think it's Rodney Harris that says sometimes you just got to punch them. And those are great situations. That's pretty awesome. Um, so who is a player then on your team that you believe is irreplaceable, despite maybe not standing out on the stat sheet? And what about that person impacts you?
definitely Anaya Rogers. She was one of our seniors this last year, and she was just the kindest person on Stansbury. Literally the kindest person I've ever met in my entire life. She was just so positive. She was pretty quiet. So if you talk to her, she's a quiet person, didn't talk much, but she was just so uplifting and always just brought you up when you were down. And she may not have stood out because she is so quiet, but she was just such a kind-hearted person, and she just brought us all up.
And that she hears that because that's quite the compliment, and she sounds like an exceptional young lady herself. So, what underclassmen then do you think we should be keeping an eye on, or and what advice would you give to that player as they maybe move up the ladder a little bit?
I'd say keep an eye on Clarity Vargas. She was a freshman this last year. She is just an exceptional outfielder. She can make amazing throws. Just a tip for her is just keep getting better, just keep growing. She's awesome. I love her. She's going to be super good in the coming years.
Definitely keep an eye out for that name. Um, which position does she play in the outfield?
She, the first half of the season was our starting left fielder, and then she ended up moving over to center field.
Okay. All right. Well, we will definitely keep an eye out for that. So what does the future look like then in Bonnie Barnett's mind? What does the future look like for you? And what are your goals for next season? Because you're just a junior, so you'll be going into your senior year this coming year. What are your goals for that season and for your future after high school?
Yeah, I want to go play college softball, and then I want to go to hair school and get licensed in cosmetology, and then try and start a family.
Was it Oklahoma? Was that correct? That's
Oklahoma's
your
the
dream
dream.
school? That's I didn't know much about it, but that appears to be a lot of people's dream school.
Yep.
They appear to be pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I don't follow softball at the collegiate level. Just barely getting into it at the high school level. So that was the second time that I'd heard that when I asked you that question. So I was like, I should probably look into this school a little bit. Um, no, that's good. So obviously that's the dream. Are you talking to any schools already, or what's that look
Yeah,
like?
I have a couple offers, and then I'll end up committing in the summer somewhere, but we'll see where I end up.
still got plenty of time. So, um,
Exactly.
if you'd like to add that maybe we didn't cover.
No, I think we got it all.
I would like to think that we did, but I feel pretty confident we probably missed something. But that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Well, listen, young lady, you sound like an exceptional person. Your head seems to be on the right place. We wish you nothing but the best in whatever you choose to do. We cannot wait to see what you do next year. Um, See as you improve, and that's you know those stats are pretty dang good. So that's definitely something that's maybe not impossible to follow, but it's a tough act to follow. So we're definitely excited to see what you do next year. Congratulations on winning your guys' region, and congratulations on your season as a whole. All the ups and downs, all the growth, all those things, and most of all, thank you for joining us here and being a part of this. And I hope that we're doing you justice.
Yeah, of course, it was super awesome to be part of this.
Well, if you got nothing else for us, we will let you get on with your day. Well, real quick, you said you do the summer league stuff. The last two interviews that we had, they go to California. Do you stay local here, or do you travel out?
No, I travel everywhere. I've been to quite a bit of states for softball. This summer I'm going to Florida, playing up at CSI. I travel just like the same as the other girls. My team is just as good. We're just from Utah.
Right? No, that's fair. Well, then definitely safe travels to you. Best of luck in those. Um, and best of luck to your parents financially for having to travel around to see it all.
Thank
All
you.
right. Well, you have a great night.
You too.
Thank you. All right, everybody. That was Bonnie Barnett, number 12, the catcher for Stansbury Stallions Softball Team. Quite an impressive batter as well. Yeah, keep an eye out on her. I think she's going to do really well next year. And Stansbury's got a pretty good team, so they're probably going to be pretty competitive. All three of our teams, I think, our schools have pretty good softball teams. Um, you know, it's I think I don't know. I think there's a lot of talent on all three of them. I didn't get to catch as many games as I was hoping to, but I think there's a lot of growth that's going to happen in the next couple of years, especially for um, Chihuahua. I think because of their underclassmen, I think they're going to grow a lot. They've got Stansbury's got good seniors coming in, like Bonnie Barnett here. She seems to have her head in the right spot. So I think they're going to do really well, and we can't wait to see it. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Please continue to share this stuff out there for these athletes. And if you like the show, please let me know what you like about it. And if you didn't like it, also please let me know what you didn't like about it, because got to improve, right? So, um, but again, special shout out, thank you to Bonnie Barnett for joining us here on the show tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Memorial Day weekend. Please stay safe, drink water. I was outside all day; it's hot. Um, but as always, guys, please take care of each other. Please take care of yourselves. And until next time,